an open fire and we're outside and we're not in a kitchen and it tastes so good. So I think that's what kind of more so ignited my passion.
I like that. Open fire, ignited.
Fire. You see what I did there? I
love it. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Medium Podcast. It's your host, Melissa Nami.
And it's me, Connor.
And for today's guest, we've got Chef Liz Macias.
Hey, everyone.
Hi, Liz. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for coming today.
I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to hang out with you guys.
I'm excited to have you on. This is you're our first. We've had someone that was a comedian, and then she was a trained sushi chef.
Oh, wow.
But you're our first chef.
Yay! I'm so excited.
We're excited.
Let's do this.
Cool. I guess let's start with the basics. Mm-hmm. When did you first fall in love with cooking?
Oh, wow. That's a question. Ever since I was little, I've always been in the kitchen with my parents. It's kind of the opposite for us. My dad was like the big cook on the weekends. Mm-hmm. So it was either my mom during the week, my dad during the weekends. I think that was his way of like relaxing, unloading. Mm-hmm. So we have a pool. So during the summers, it was, what's dad cooking today? Mm-hmm. That's like one of my best childhood memories, was just cooking with my dad. Then towards into like my tweens or my teens, my brother-in-law started calling me Betty Crocker because I was always baking something. He's like, "What are you doing today, Betty Crocker?" I was like, "We're making cookies." So yeah, ever since I was little, ever since I could remember, my mom was like that mom wife, like, "Oh my God, dinner has to be ready by the time your dad gets home and we have to have dinner for your dad." Yeah. I know. I was like, go mom.
It's a good lady.
Go mom.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know if I could do that, but go mom. And then, like I said, my dad worked like crazy Monday through Friday. And so I think his way of like unloading and like relaxing was for us to just be in the pool swimming, and him having his like flame going, or like the barbecue going, or tacos. But with my dad, he kind of took it one step further and would do like the cabeza, a whole cabeza, or a whole pig's head, or he had like an old brass copper pot. We would do like the intestines, the buche, the like kind of off the wall stuff that not everybody's used to. And that's, I think, where I was like, wow, what's that? You're cooking with an open fire and we're outside and we're not in a kitchen and it tastes so good. So I think that's what kind of more so ignited my passion.
I like that. Open fire, ignited.
You see what I did there?
I love it. And I really like how you're referring to your dad cooking to relax, because that's one of the beautiful things about cooking is, cooking to unwind, cooking to express love, cooking to express yourself. And, as Medium Podcast, that's where I kind of reached out to you, because I feel as though you do express yourself through your cooking.
Absolutely.
You put effort into your cooking.
I know someone recently, I took him to my kitchen and I was like, you know what, since we're here, I don't remember what we were doing. I was like, why don't I make you something to eat? And he was like, what? I was like, are you hungry? Do you want to eat? And he's like, yeah, sure. And so like I'm cooking and stuff. And then after we were done eating, and he's like, I could tell you like what you do. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, because just watching your movement, watching your energy, watching, how you do this. And I was like, it was just tacos. It was just it was literally a quesadilla. I was like, it was just a quesadilla.
This is the best quesadilla I've ever had.
And he's like, no, like I could totally tell you like what you do, because your energy is different. And I was like, oh, thanks. Nobody's ever said that to me. I guess because when I'm doing it, I'm not thinking about, like, I'm in my zone. Yeah. I'm like doing my movements and it just comes like second nature.
You're moving with intention naturally.
Right. It just comes naturally to me. I don't think about it. I'm like, oh, okay, it was just a quesadilla.
But you blew his mind.
Yeah, totally. And then to take it one step further, it's like, as chefs, we're more like, it's the reward. Like, I want to watch you eat it and enjoy it. It could take me 4 to 6 hours or whatever, how many hours it took me to make this brisket. Yeah. But the minute you start eating it and everybody starts enjoying it, we're like, Like,
Yep.
My life is complete now.
Yep.
It's just watching everybody enjoy it and be happy. And
You can tell when nobody's talking.
yeah.
You're like, ooh, they like it.
I'm like, why is everybody so quiet? Is it bad? Is it bad? And then I start freaking out. I'm like, oh no, it's bad.
Oh, the not talking means like, this food is so good. I don't even give a shit how you're doing anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be in because food is an experience for people.
It has to be really, really bad to get people to not talk
To not
anymore.
talk, right?
Yeah. If it's really good, if it's good, then people will not talk easily.
Right,
You know.
right.
Yeah.
And it just that's
true.
That's something you learn. I'm like, oh, okay, it's fine. They're just enjoying their food.
Yes.
Or like I just walk away. A lot of times I'll just walk away. I'll be like, okay, bye. My job here is done. Like everybody enjoy your dinner. I'll see you later.
Yeah. Connor is you used to be a line chef.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he's worked in the kitchen for Italian restaurants and stuff
Okay.
like that.
Awesome.
Italian food.
Yeah, I've done Italian, French, American, burgers, tacos, Mexican. You name it, I've done it. I've done it all. Yeah. I have traditional French training, so I kind of, revert to that, but I love it all.
Very cool. I wanted to ask you about that too. If you did like how your training was, formal training, whatever it is. Cause I had one experience with a friend that took a course in Cal Poly Pomona.
Oh, yeah.
For hospitality.
Yeah.
And it was a really neat thing during one of her semesters.
Yeah.
She invited us to go out there to
that's
eat
so cool.
at their
little restaurant.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we got to have a 7-course meal. Her role in it was the hospitality side, the
manager or
yes.
like front of the house manager.
That part, yes.
Yeah.
But as far as getting to experience how everyone was being trained,
Right.
like that's when I learned, like in a very nice restaurant, your waiter won't reach over you.
Right.
They're going to reach to the
Around
side.
you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So really neat things that I never took into
consideration.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And I do want to say I also got the opportunity to have your food once. And I love that at my, for all intents and purposes, my mother-in-law's birthday party. Yes. And I was one.
Oh my God, that was so much fun.
It was, oh my God.
We had so much fun.
I
had fun.
I had fun too, because one, there's like that cool, like, we have a chef here.
Yeah.
She's making us dinner.
Yeah.
And then I'm always like outstanded because she took a regular guy's kitchen, because I would think you need a kitchen.
Oh, right.
I don't know how the hell you finished 20 plates at the same time. That's incredible. And it was delicious.
Just in your house or
Not my house. It was Uncle Dave's house.
So it's just a regular kitchen?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Like if I came here and
Hold
did
on,
it
you
for
got a
guys.
little dirt on your shoulders. Let me get that off you, PIMP. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. I like doing
Delicious. By the way,
that
delicious.
was really fun. That is different from being in a restaurant, being in a commercial kitchen, being in like the hustle and bustle, but it's fun because you get to share that with other people. And just like you were saying, you're like, I can't believe you did that in a regular kitchen.
Yeah.
I'm like, I do it all the time, but it's fun because I got to meet the family and, everybody was there. It was, whose birthday was it again?
It was Norma's birthday. Elisa Chantel's mom.
Yeah, their mom's
It was her
birthday.
60th birthday.
Oh my God, it was so much fun. But I like doing that because then I'm like, enjoy this awesome food. Okay. And then I can leave now. Like, have a good day. I'll see you later. My job here is done. But it's fun because I don't get to do that, as often.
And you added a magical touch to that evening. You know what I mean? Because there's a big difference between having that type of experience. Because being in a relationship, I was like, I want to try both plates. So we each got one and we shared because it was so good. There was a steak with a Cabernet sauce.
There's like a red wine sauce.
Yeah, and then salmon.
The other plate. Oh, salmon.
Yes.
That's right. There was a couple salmon.
They got a lot of not red meat eaters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was a nice fat steak. I'm like, why won't you want a nice steak?
Delicious.
But I get it. Salmon's good too.
Yeah,
you're not going to hurt my feelings. So it's fine. Like, it's food. Food is food.
I'm offended for the cow. You know what I mean? They died
How dare you?
They died to be enjoyed.
How dare you?
But yeah, so very curious about like your training. You said French training.
So I went to culinary school in Portland, Oregon.
Very cool.
It was an experience because I want to say I think I turned 17 right out of high school. And I had originally planned on going to Cal State Monterey Bay. And it was either I'm going to cook or I'm going to be some sort of biology major. Like I loved science. I was like a science geek. Maybe that's where the cooking comes from. I don't know. They both correlate for some reason. And so I moved to Portland. I told my parents like, hey guys, I'm going to school. I'll see you later. So left, packed up my bags. I lived up there for 2 years, went to school full time, worked full time, and it kind of worked out. Like I found a great job at a country club, and I would work in the mornings, go to school at night, and then when we switched, I would work at night and go to school in the mornings, and they were really cool about that.
That's neat.
There's a country club with like a golf course and everything?
Yeah.
How was that?
It was pretty rad.
Yeah.
It was pretty. I don't golf and I didn't play golf, but it was beautiful. It was right by the river. Like Oregon's beautiful.
I've
right?
heard those are always good cooking jobs at golf courses.
It's a good like step in, and they're a good place to get your career going. If that's where you want to end up, great, good for you.
Yeah.
That's not where I wanted to end up. I was at a Le Cordon Bleu in Portland. Those schools don't exist anymore. They went under because apparently they weren't doing things the right way. But yeah.
Damn, so you learned like a rebel. Yeah.
You know what? And it all happened, all the drama, all the this and that was after. And I was like, I thought it was cool. I did good. Like I graduated,
Yeah.
And then I came back to LA after about 2.5 years, did my internship at Macias in Santa Monica.
Is that a French restaurant?
That's a full-on French restaurant. They
Sacre
have
bleu.
Michelin star. Yeah,
Michelin
It's
star.
run like like an army. It's you see everybody's talking about the bear right now. You see the bear and how it's like, yeah, chef, yeah, very, very strict. Very, you gotta stay in your lane and do your thing. But sorry, go ahead.
When you enter a place like that, is it like with your does it matter how you went to school and you did the training?
It does not. It does not.
See, that's what I was curious about.
I did not have to go to school to work there. You basically, in restaurants like that, you just work your way up. You have to prove yourself.
So you're still at the bottom of the rung, and you gotta.
Yeah. So I ended up actually staging for 6 weeks. So I worked for free.
Oh,
so
wow.
you basically intern. It's like an internship, and then they ended up hiring me on.
The things we do for love.
Was it kind of like a tryouts type of deal? Did it feel like that?
Not really. It's just do this, do this, do this. Very regiment,
Gotcha.
very. But
Yes, chef.
You complete these tasks you're in kind of deal?
Yeah. Here's a lot of people joke like, here's 50 pounds of potatoes. Peel potatoes. Just doing deboning this, cleaning this, clean that, and then you work your way up, and then little by little they start giving you more response. Okay, you can do this now. You can peel the asparagus now. You can cut the chives now. So
How many weeks was that?
6 weeks. And then I ended up working there. They hired me on, and I ended up working there for about 9 months to a year.
Nice.
Best experience of my life. If I could do it again, I would. And then now, when young cooks ask me like, oh, what are your suggestions? Can you give me a little bit of advice? I'm like, go and stage at a really great restaurant. Go and, find out what are the good restaurants in your local city or wherever you live. Because I'm super grateful for that experience, because now that is on my resume, it helped me get a lot of jobs. People would just be like, that was their first question. What was Macias like? What was it like at Macias? And I was like, well, it was awesome. Yeah. It wasn't always positive. It wasn't always fun, but it opened a lot of doors and it led to this and that. And I do, attest a lot of my experience and a lot of my professionalism and who I am to that one job, because it makes or breaks you. It's going to mold you. You're either going to be okay with it, or you're not going to be okay with it, and maybe it's just not for you, and you go somewhere else to go and find a different kitchen. But that was like perfect for me. I'm so grateful.
Set the foundation for everything else you've built upon.
Super grateful for it. Yeah.
How neat.
Yeah. So that was a lot of my training and experience, and then from there I just went from kitchen to kitchen. I just worked my way up.
Very cool.
It was very cool.
And you still practice cook? Do you still cook French cuisine?
I do from time to time. It just depends on what I'm doing, and a lot of times, a lot of the basis from cooking in general is rooted in traditional French. Whether you don't think about it or not, braising or making a sauce, at the root of it, at the bottom of it, they're all pretty much the same, but they all derive from one same technique or if we're making a mole, it's going to be the same as if I was making a red wine demi or something. They're still correlated in processes and, technique. And you're like, okay, well, I guess it's not that different. The only thing that's going to change is like a flavor here or an ingredient there. that's what's going to make it French or that's what's going to make it Mexican.
I feel
or
like once you
Italian.
start understanding that a little bit more, that's when you can start really being creative
Yeah,
too.
for sure. To where you can mix it up a little, like, oh, let's try this flavor or that flavor.
Well, that's kind of cool too, because like the other thing you were interested in as far as like science and stuff like
Right.
that, how that goes, because at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's experimentation within a different type of substance,
Yeah.
right?
Which is funny because like people ask me about, oh, well, what about baking? I'm like, I hate baking. Because there's too many rules.
Yeah.
Like that is like
Precise.
a science. You have to have the same, if the recipe says half a cup or a teaspoon of this, it has to be
precise,
or
yeah.
or your croissant's not going to work out or your cinnamon roll's not going to work out. That's why I'm like, I can't. There's too many rules.
Yeah, I did
Sorry.
bread. I did bread and dough for a
Yeah.
while, and that was it has to be exact or it won't rise correctly. It won't. Yeah,
Right.
it's terrible.
Moisture, air temperature, airflow. I'm like, that's too much. Can I just make
Yeah, but then with the sauce, you can just be like a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
it'll come out good.
I'm thinking of Ratatouille and the hat, just like everything flying all over the spot.
Yeah, that's me in the kitchen.
Yeah, I think like I tried baking, obviously, like in school and in some jobs I did have to do like desserts and stuff, but I'd be like, I don't want to make creme brulee today, or I don't want to make a pie.
It's more fun when you're doing it for yourself.
Yeah,
kind of like
yes and no. I'm like, I don't know. I just like it's not for me.
Yeah, yeah.
It's too many rules.
Yeah.
I don't want to mess it up because then if you mess it up and it doesn't come out, you can't eat it. Like I just did all this work and now I can't even eat it.
I get that. Well, I know you said your brother would call you Betty Cocker.
Betty Cocker.
But cookies and stuff like that when you're young are so simple versus
simple.
the standard that you hold yourself to now. Right.
Now if like we want cookies or something, my daughter will just do it. She'll be like, I want to bake something. I'm like, yeah, you do that. You do the baking. I'll do the cooking.
Is she interested in learning things from you like that?
They've actually learned a lot. They're very self-sufficient.
Yeah.
They can make their own eggs and sandwiches and cookies and things like that. And I trust them, I'm like, you have to teach them the basics and the safety and all of that. And they do pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm pretty proud of them. Like, I'm like, you'll be able to feed yourself and you'll stay alive if I'm gone.
You're never like what's that guy's name? The mean one?
Ramsey?
You're never like,
Yelling at him in the kitchen.
do it
Like,
again.
you're doing it wrong. Not like that, like this.
Do it again.
No, because I think that they should be able to like have the comfort. For me, it's more so like I want you to feel comfortable
Yeah.
doing it, like that you can do it, know that you can do it, as opposed to like start doubting yourself. Like that's always
Confidence is key.
right? And with any cook, like any cook that I'm training or like building up or whatever,
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you can do it. You try it. And then sometimes if she messes up a recipe or something, she'll be like, Mom, what did I do wrong? I was like, oh, I think too much flour, maybe not enough butter. She's like, yeah, you're right. She's like, next time I'll try this. I was like, but we still ate it. Like, it was still good.
You're all sugar sweet.
I'm like,
yum.
but I'll have another.
Yeah.
Have another scone.
To circle back with like science and baking, now you see those because Instagram's kind of exposed us to a lot of
Oh my
different
God,
types
yeah.
of cooking styles.
Absolutely.
And now you see those people that have like the centrifuge and they're mixing in gelatin and they're making little gum drops that float. It's like, dude, this is crazy.
It's CO2 and they're using nitrogen and
Yep.
yeah.
They literally are using like they're like mad scientists. They got to put
Right.
on rubber gloves. It's like that's pretty crazy, and safety goggles like, to cook.
You have to be careful what you're doing. I love it. I mean, to each his own.
Yeah.
I just feel that I usually tell cooks and chefs and customers that come to see me, I'm like, listen, a lot of times you don't have to overcomplicate it. Do one thing and do it right and do it good. Because at least, like, I like to refer a lot to In-N-Out.
Yeah.
Look, what In-N-Out has 3 things on their menu, and they're phenomenal. And the lines out the door every day. But on the latter, I love and appreciate and respect the molecular gastronomy and the,
That shit.
the like scientific and the like plating or like the peeling, because I did it too. Like I would have to peel like petals or like clean one asparagus at a time and peel artichokes. I love that shit. I
Yeah.
get it. I totally get it.
Yeah.
It's not for me anymore. I'm a little too old for that. I'm like, I've been there, done that. Do I want to do it again? No. but I do respect it. I do appreciate it. I do love it. I get excited when I do see those videos.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God. It was so fun. I was laying in bed the other night and just scrolling through videos, and there's a video that comes on with making porchetta. And it's pork belly. You wrap it, you braise it, and then you slice it, and you either fry it or sear it. So it's like crispy, juicy pork belly. Oh my God. Like, I was watching this video and I was like, why am I getting so excited?
I'm going to have to eat after this episode.
I started laughing at myself. I'm like, I'm getting excited. It's like 12:30. I'm watching a stupid video and I'm getting excited about pork belly.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I love that shit. I do appreciate it. I used to do it. Don't do it so much anymore, but I think it's great what people are doing now with food.
Yes. Did you have to learn about drinks and stuff like that too in school?
Not really.
Pairings or no?
I mean, yes and no, like wine pairing. That I think is something you learn over time.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are like, well, how do you do this? It just takes time sometimes. No, we didn't, not necessarily in school. I think I picked that up more so in each restaurant that I worked at, or each new restaurant that I worked at. I worked at a restaurant at the Disneyland Resort, and they were very big on wine, and so we would do like wine tastings, wine pairings, and like I said, after a while, you just pick that up with the certain restaurants you go to. I just like to drink it.
It's like you have it like the base of it in your tool belt.
Right. That's cool. I'll just put that back there for later.
Well, that sounds like fun. You know what I mean?
Fun.
Like it's you see that kind of thing when I don't know how to say it, like people are interviewing for bar jobs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's like they know it so to a T.
Right.
That's crazy to me.
It's a lot. Yeah. I mean, I get it, and it's not any different from being a chef. Like, you have flavor profiles, and you have spicy, you have sweet, you have salty, you have this, you have that. It's just a different application.
Yeah.
Instead of eating it, you're going to drink it. And then again, I do have just as much respect for what they do, because I'm sure that you have to learn a lot, you have to practice, and it's a craft, and you make beautiful drinks, I make food.
Yeah, for sure. There's culinary chef, pastry chef. What other big types of, like, I guess I'm asking for a little bit of education.
Like a hierarchy?
No,
in the
not
kitchen?
a hierarchy in the kitchen, but like specialties.
What kind of chefs?
Yeah, like what is a French chef just a French culinary chef? Is that how you would label that?
I think back in the day, old world, there was like a saucier. So sauciers just made sauces. There's a pastry chef. There was a garde-manger chef. Garde-manger is just cold kitchen. Garde-manger means cold kitchen, cold salad. So anything cold. Yeah. A lot of old hotels used to run their kitchens like that. I think more so in the last, 50 years or whatever, it just kind of died off. You don't see that anymore. It's more old world cuisine, haute cuisine.
Is that how it was at
Macias?
Macias. I wanted to say Malays, but I'm like, I feel like that means sick.
You're like, I'm gonna mess it up.
Yeah, Macias.
Yeah.
Yes.
Melisse. Yes and no. You had your garde-manger station. You had your saute, your grill. The restaurant that I worked at Disney was very around the same way. You start at the bottom. You start at the bread station, then you work up to garde-manger, and then you work up to hot apps, and then you work up to appetizer, and then you work up to grill. So it is kind of a hierarchy. You have to work your way up.
Yeah.
The guy that's been there the longest and that has the most experience is the guy that handles the meats, and that's because he has the experience, and he's not going to fuck up a $35 per pound fillet or ribeye. So you have to trust your guy with the most experience. A lot of kitchens have.
What's a meat chef called?
I can't remember.
Meat chef.
There's a word for it, but I can't remember.
That's my favorite kind of chef, I think.
I want to be that guy.
Yeah. I've always said I think butchering is cool.
Oh my God, that's my favorite.
I noticed that you do trim a lot of meat. It seems as though you work with a lot of red meat.
I used to. So I ran a restaurant in downtown LA, and we would butcher our own meats.
Cool.
And then when I worked at another country club in Pasadena, we would start with primals and then cut them down to subprimals. That was it's like my, not my church, but it was like my therapy. Like I would just zone out and
When you say like primal, subprimal, like having like a
you
big
get,
ass
like, a
T-bone.
No, you get like a strip loin, right? A strip loin or a ribeye, or is where your ribeye steaks come from. A strip loin is where your New Yorks come from, and then you get a tenderloin, is where your fillets come from. So we would order whole everything, and then I would clean it, strip it, cut them down to size, to whatever size we want. Oh, that was I think that's one thing I miss. So like when I do get to do it, I get all excited. I'm like a little kid. I'm like, I got a knife for this. I got to clean this. I got to clean that. I worked for Hilton for a while, and we used to break down all of our primals for banquets. So we would do like 500, 600 people, up to like 1,000 people banquets. And so we would have to cut the steaks ourselves. And
I've always wondered that too.
Oh my God, I loved it. I don't think they do that anymore. That was a long time ago. Like I said, again, I think it's changed a lot in the last 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
A lot of like restaurants, like fine dining restaurants, still do it themselves, but most people just order it pre-cut already.
Oh, okay.
Due to labor and cost and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But that's oh my God, I love butchering. Cutting fish, cutting beef. That was always my favorite.
I hear fish is tricky.
It is. It depends on the fish. There's flat fish. There's round fish. You practice makes perfect. You know, I've been doing this for a while now, so I think I can do it. No, I can do it. Again, I would break down whole salmon for when I lived in Portland. They had the best salmon ever, and they would bring in whole salmon. I'm like, it's like bigger than this table. Like, oh my God, this is amazing. So a lot of practice, and it helps. You know, it adds to your experience.
Is there anything you would consider your specialty now?
No. People always ask, like, what's your specialty or what's your favorite dish to make? I'm like, oh, God, I hate that question. If I had $1 for every time I heard that. No specialty. I do like making sauces. Sauces are more like a labor of love. Like if I'm making a marinara from scratch or moles. Oh my God, I love making mole. Is like my thing. Or like a red wine demi. Like a real good demi takes at least 3 days to make if you're doing it right. So mole takes, my mole is like 28 hours. So it's more like a labor of love for me. Like the time that goes into it, the process, like you have to watch it, you have to baby it, you have to make sure you don't burn it or overspill. Or
do you like doing soups also?
That's a great question. No, not really. I think because soups is like more of like a seasonal thing. Like sauces, you can, like if I make mole, you can eat it with anything.
Yeah,
people always,
for sure, at the beginning of the year, there was a lot of people saying it's the year of soup. Everybody doesn't want soup this year, and then I heard like as the year got hotter and hotter, people stopped saying it. You're like, where are all these soups at?
I'm ready. Or like chili, chili is always fun to make, but it's also a labor of love.
Do you know how to make marinara sauce?
Yeah.
From scratch.
Yeah.
From scratch? Okay. Let's play this little game real quick. I'll do one for me too. I'll tell her how I cook a steak.
Okay.
All right, let's hear how you make
your marinara.
Yeah. How do I make my marinara?
You worked at an Italian place, right?
Yeah. Well, I make mine a little bit different than they made theirs because they had like tomato paste packets and all that kind of shit, I do like whole tomatoes in a pot with some oil and a little bit of water, and then just mash the shit out of them with some onions and garlic, salt, pepper, tomatoes, red pepper flakes. I like to do like really thinly diced tomatoes. I don't like doing like onion powder and stuff like that. And then just cook it down.
It's like a chunky marinara.
It tends to get a little chunkier. Yeah.
I want pasta now.
Does that sound like a good marinara?
Let's make pasta.
I'm down. I actually haven't.
Have you made fresh pasta?
No, I've always wanted to.
Dude.
Yeah.
Chantel and I we have a little pasta, the thing that we it was really fun.
But fresh pasta is like life-changing.
It was good.
I've had fresh pasta, but I've never made it myself.
You're like, oh my God, what have I mean, I just think it's great. You're like, I'll show you guys a picture later where I worked at a place and we would make our own parpadelle. And so in our storeroom,
which one's that one real quick?
It's like long, it's like flat and thin.
Okay.
It's like long. Our storeroom was probably like half the size of this, but I would string.
This room is huge.
It's massive. But I would string butcher twine like across the room and just hang pasta. And I'll show you guys a picture later.
So it's like a closet full of pasta.
Closet full of fresh pasta.
Oh, that sounds great.
It was awesome.
That sounds like you open the door and it's like, oh, yeah.
They're like, what? This is amazing.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was super fun breaking the egg yolks and doing all the good stuff. It was pretty cool. Okay, I'll tell you
So
how
your steak.
I take it out like
What kind of steak is it?
okay, so my favorite ones to make are like a good ribeye. That's my
Now
favorite
we're
one
talking.
to yeah.
She knows.
So I have a Blackstone outside the griddle, and so I'll pat it dry and I'll let it sit out and I'll salt it, and then after maybe like an hour I'll pat it dry one more time. I'll re-salt it, pepper, and then I throw it on the Blackstone with a weight.
Oh, check you out.
I watched the
Why
YouTube
do you do
videos
the weight?
to get that like crispy sear.
Yeah. You don't need to weight it.
I don't need to.
No.
You could. I heard that you could just like really press it down
and make sure yours grows really flipping hot.
Dude, oh my god! The seasoning is weird. I didn't know I had to do that.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god! It changed the color of my grill. I got it, and it was metallic looking,
It's
and
all
then
shiny, and then it turns black, and you're like, no.
it's still shiny, but it's cool.
Supposed to be like that.
Yeah. So the polymer, whatever, it's pretty cool.
So it's just science.
Yeah.
Science.
That's what they say. They're like, you're not burning anything. Like, don't scrape it off. It's a science. You got to do
You
that.
gotta leave it
It's
like
similar with like a wok.
or like a cast iron. Like treat it like a cast iron.
See, I always say, I was like, if I got to pick a kitchen thing that I could have, it would be the chameleon. Is it the chameleon? What is it? The one that you burn it. Oh my god, it's like a cool little.
It's
like
pan?
No, it's like a broiler, but it's just a broiler.
Oh.
I don't know what they're called.
A salamander?
No, nailed it. I called it. What did I call it? An iguana?
A chameleon.
A chameleon.
Close enough.
You're same families.
Thank you.
Same family.
You knew what I was talking about.
I got you.
Yeah, I was just naming reptiles
I
at
was
this
like,
point.
I was like, what's a reptile? I was like,
Lizard, snake.
salamander.
Those are cool.
Those are rad.
Those are rad.
Yeah. No, I would just stick to like a good old fashioned great oven that gets flipping hot
Yeah.
and a nice pan.
Okay, I have a cast iron too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love my cast
irons
iron.
are good for steak.
Yes,
Yeah.
love my cast iron. I love my Blackstone, and I recently got the 22-inch Weber grill. But that's because being Middle Eastern, I love making tawut, like shawarma, and the garlic, the charcoal really.
Yeah, you
brings
need
it
that.
out.
You need the charcoal
Yeah.
for Middle Eastern food is like heavy in char flavor. Heavy in flavor, like super, super prominent flavors.
And I like grilling.
I love grilling.
Yeah.
Well, that, and then plus you get to do it outside and your
Bingo.
house stays cold.
Bingo. And it
that's
doesn't
true,
smell
yeah.
like meat afterwards.
I mean, you'll smell like meat, but the house won't smell like meat.
Yep.
That was one thing too. Like after cooking for hours and hours and hours, I would come home and like my girls would be like, "You smell like steak."
See,
or like the dogs would go crazy.
I would
They're
just
like,
hug you. I'd be like, Mom, you smell so good.
or like I take my shoes off and the first thing the dog does is she goes straight for my shoes. I start licking the bottom of my shoes. I was like, yeah, you got food scraps.
I'm imagining it's like the little bar mat. You're just stepping on food. It's getting into the crevices.
It's so terrible. Like if I'm grilling all day or if I'm cooking all day, I like get home and I'm like, what is this? It's just everything that I cooked. I was like, oof. I smell like steak and chicken and salmon.
Now, with cooking being your profession, because you can we talk about Cisco? You work for Cisco?
Absolutely. I work for Cisco.
Cisco's my favorite mayonnaise.
Oh my god, our mayonnaise is the best.
It's
and
so
I
fucking
don't just
good,
say
dude.
that. I don't know what it is about the mayonnaise. Like,
It's so good.
it's so good.
They use Cisco mayonnaise at Cactus Cantina. And I remember I asked the lady, I was like, I get their turkey sandwich. I was like, I have to know what your mayonnaise is. And she's like, I'll find out.
We use Cisco products where I worked.
Yeah.
And we use that mayonnaise too for the
I
ranch,
don't know
everything.
what it is. And then our buttermilk ranch, people are like, wow, this is amazing. I was like, I know, right? And then like usually I'm like, I'm not just saying it because I work for Cisco. I really do like
They have some
the
good stuff,
mayonnaise.
for sure. They have some good stuff.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I've been with them for 4 years, about 4 years now.
Very cool.
I love it.
dude, we see you drive. We see you guys roll deep on the freeways. You know what I mean?
We're everywhere. We're taking over the world.
For real though. Every restaurant.
Everywhere.
Dude, I imagine there will be like a new kitchen supply store that comes out, or like what is it? Kitchen supply?
We do
Food supply?
food distributor, kitchen, but we do have subsidiary companies. So we have supplies on the fly. So
Yeah.
we do kitchen supply, hardware,
Cool.
You guys do
paperware.
mostly commercial though, right?
No.
Or you use consumer-based stuff too?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't matter how small your establishment is. We have the capabilities to support.
You guys trying to bring Sears back?
Right? Well, we just bought Sears. Just kidding. I say we like if I own it, like if it's my company.
Did Cisco really buy Sears?
concerned.
No.
What's that?
Did Cisco really buy Sears?
No, we just bought Edward Don. That's the most recent purchase. A couple years ago, we bought a Italian specialty company,
Cool.
Greco and Sons. They're such good Italian food.
How do I get your mayonnaise?
Just kidding. I got you. We'll talk after.
Hey.
I got the hookup. I might know somebody that knows somebody.
Nice. I just get a
I'm gonna
10-gallon tub
with
of...
a 5-gallon bucket of
Oh my God. I would just...
Like on The Simpsons, remember when they would do the coleslaw? They're like, what's in the coleslaw? And then they put a big old bucket. It's all coleslaw.
I think it's cool. I think it's a really cool thing that you do. And you mentioned that you do social media for them.
Mm-hmm.
Has that been fun for you, or has that been tedious, like as far as content
It's
creation?
a little of both. I
Yeah.
never realized how much work it takes to do this kind of stuff. Like God bless you guys. And it's it's harder because I do love it.
It's
I'm
only
not-
possible with cool guests like you.
That's for sure.
I do love it. I do love the feedback. It is fun. Like looking, like you guys are like, oh, I saw your videos. It's like, oh, somebody does watch it.
Oh, yeah.
It's just more the time thing. You know, I work full time. I'm a single mom. Like I still want to take care of myself and do my thing, and all of which are very demanding.
Yeah.
So to have this other thing on my plate, I'm like, oh, but also I live to please. I'm a pleaser. I'm a people pleaser. I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. I could do it. I could shoot you a video every week. And they're like, no, we need more. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It's more so like, obviously, it exposes you to more people and you get to meet more people. And the difference with theirs, it's more company based. I'm going to start representing brands, and I have to sell the brand, and
Very
which
cool.
I do already, obviously, but it's going to be more dedicated to our products.
Yes. Very neat.
Oh, it's so neat. It's like everybody at our office, they're like, oh my God, Liz, you're so cool. So,
Yeah. I think you're so cool too. Yeah. I think it's
I
rad.
try.
That's why you're here.
Yeah.
I think you're cool.
My cool factor.
Well, it's also my question, right? Is like now, because you do it so professionally, right? Is there a like do you still like cooking for other people outside of
I
work?
love it.
Okay,
I love it.
So you haven't lost that line hasn't blended
No,
between
never.
work and then also your personal love for it.
Right, where it becomes like monotonous, and I'm not happy, and I'm not
Yeah.
enjoying. No, I love it. Every day, like I tell people, I'm like, I can't imagine doing anything else. But not only that, it's like I don't want to start all over again.
Yeah.
Like if I decided tomorrow, like, all right, I'm going to be a train conductor. I really want to be. Like you would have to start all over. Like learn a new trade or learn a new career. I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm happy where I'm at. I love Cisco. I love, the life that I've created with my daughters. I love my life right now. I'm in a good spot right now. I can't, there are times, I'm not going to lie, where if I'm cooking all day, the last thing I want to do is cook.
Yeah.
So like the girls
That's
will be
how
like,
I felt every night when I worked.
yeah, because it does get a lot. And so sometimes I'll be like, we're just going to order pizza or I'm going to have like when I was young, when I was single and no kids, I swear to you, it was top ramen and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Yeah.
Like I would work at like a Michelin star restaurant and go home and eat cereal. And people were like, ooh, well, what do you eat? I'm like, top ramen. Oh, you're cooking foie gras every day. That must be amazing. I was like, I cook it, but I don't eat it. I go home and make a grilled cheese or a quesadilla.
Well, because at that point, like I said, like you're almost spent,
I'm
right?
so
like
tired. And I think that's the thing now, like in my role with Cisco is I sell food. I talk about food. I show food. I cook food. I'm telling you about food. So food is like 24/7. So when I get home, I'm like, that's my, how do I shut this switch off? Like, I don't want to think about food. So there was a time where, I know everybody's going to judge me for this, I started ordering like meal prep plans, like meal plans. But again, I'm so busy. I do it, you know, I'm a mom, I'm a professional, and it's just done for me.
Yeah.
And to take it one step further,
Sometimes you don't want to think.
I don't want to think about it.
I know personal trainers who had personal trainers.
Right.
Because they're like, I
don't want to think about it.
Boom. I want someone to do it for me.
And it's so convenient. And obviously I don't do it all the time, but it's more the fact that it's somebody thought about it for me and did it. Like, here's all of your ingredients, throw it in a pan, and then you have dinner. And then to take it one step further, if I'm not home, or if the girls can do it, they'll just make their own meal. I'm like, okay, good.
I think that's one of the neatest things about those prepped meals is how
convenient.
Convenience, but also how not neat, I guess how convenient, not convenient. Boom, boom. Okay. How accessible it makes cooking for children. Because now you've taken a couple steps out of it and you're like, okay, now all I got to do is, step by step.
It has a card with pictures.
Yeah, and that's like, a cool way for kids to learn.
I mean, they basically idiot proof it. And idiot proof makes it easier for kids. And so, they love it. They're like, okay, Mom, I'm just going to make a meal. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go take a nap.
Yeah.
See you later. Because I don't want to cook or think about it, But there are days where I'm like, oh, I can't wait to go home and make lasagna, I can't wait to go home and make enchiladas. Unfortunately, it's like I have to be in a mood.
Yeah, no. I get it for sure.
Yeah, because all I do is food all day. It's like food here, food. Everywhere I go, there's food. I'm like,
there's still no matter how much you love what you do, there's still the possibility of burnout, and you don't want to get there. You know what I mean?
No, I don't think I'll burn. I have burned out before, where I'm like, fuck this.
Yeah, but your balance, right? Is those days of just being like, let's get the pizza.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Like, I worked for Starbucks for a year. It was so awesome.
Really?
It was like, only because the schedule, 1, 2, it was still kind of like you're doing recipes. Like we talked about, what are they called? Mixologists.
Yeah.
So we were talking about mixologists and chefs. You're still following recipes. You're still preparing. You're still making stuff. But I wasn't in a kitchen. I wasn't cooking. But then again, after my year with Starbucks, I was like, I really miss cooking. So I went back.
I got this analogy in my head now with like chefs and mixologists. It's like, surgeons and anesthesiologists. Right?
You can't have one without the other.
Well, one does the hard work and the other one just provides the juice.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. I can't wait to use that.
Yeah. So that's
I'm like, I'm the surgeon.
Yeah, for real. You juice.
You juice me.
Do juice.
And it's true, like in the industry, chefs and bartenders always have been known to have this kind of like relationship where I got you, you got me at the end of the shift.
Yep.
We take care. I'll feed you, you bring me a drink.
Yeah.
We take care of each other.
Very symbiotic relationship at the same time.
We coexist together.
After I was done cooking, I actually switched to bartending for almost 10 years. And it was very much so. I was already knew the cooks from cooking with them, so that was an easy transition to they didn't hate me when I came back to get food for the bar and stuff, you know what I mean? But
get out of here.
We definitely had each other's backs. Like food, I get my food out quick, they get a couple drinks after their shift,
it's
on the
like
house.
You're building a camaraderie. It's like a relationship. You're like, hey, we kind of go through the trenches together, now let's have a beer.
That's also that.
Like that was probably one of my favorite parts, running a kitchen. There was a kitchen where we were able to serve our cooks beers at the end of the night. And it was like, if we got our asses handed to us sometimes, like I'm dying, like mascara smeared, eyebrows are gone, like I've almost sweat. You could see like the dried sweat on everybody's cheeks.
We need like a picture of you before your shift and after your shift, and you just look like you got ran over by a car. You're like,
those kind of shifts give you PTSD too. You dream about that shit. You dream about it.
They turn you into the woman you are today.
Exactly.
It was thicken that skin.
Made me who I am today. But I would go to the bar and I'd be like, we kind of got our asses handed to us. Can we get a couple of beers? And so we'd all just hang out and 2 beers for each. And
yeah.
But
camaraderie.
it was the camaraderie, but also like on the ladder, like saying the woman I am, like I gained respect. They're like, oh, she's gonna be in the trenches with us, but then she's gonna get us a beer, and like we would sit and talk and bullshit, and then everybody just went their ways, and we came back and did it again the next day.
Yeah. For real. And it is a man's world, right? The kitchen.
Oh, it's a total man's
Yeah.
world.
I work in construction, so I get it. Like my daylight job.
And again, like I am happy to say that it's completely different. I think in the last maybe 20 years, you see there's been a lot more women, a lot
much more female presence,
female spearheading the culinary world, which I freaking love.
Yeah.
But I started 22 years ago. So 22 years ago was nothing like it is today.
Yeah.
Nothing like it is today.
That culture is still very much alive in some places.
In some places.
I've heard some of the dirtiest things I've ever heard in my life in some kitchens.
I always think of
different kind of culture, but yeah.
I think of the movie.
I mean, with like the men running it and all yeah.
I think of the movie Waiting with Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, with Ryan Reynolds.
That movie, oh my gosh. It made everybody think that working in a restaurant's like hardcore crazy.
I mean, it
They're
is.
pulling out
can be.
hairs
It
and
can
just
be.
It can
in the
be.
mashed
yeah,
potatoes.
but people don't do that anymore. I hope people don't.
Yeah,
if you guys
for
are
real.
doing that, stop it.
Girl, don't fucking
Stop
do
it.
that.
Jail.
You don't
Jail
need
time.
to be doing that.
We got swords, girl. We
You don't. I got knives. It's okay. I'll bring
Those
my
are
own.
sharper. Those are definitely sharper.
You don't need to be. But yes, it was a very, very male-dominated world. Every kitchen that I took over, I was always the first female to run it, which was really cool. Like,
Sacre bleu.
I was like,
crazy.
Tell me now. All the cooks in every kitchen, they're like, we've never had a female chef. We've never had a female executive running us. I was like, well, you do now.
Yeah.
So let's do this.
You're all sup, motherfucker.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna bring it. Let me show you how it's really done. But no, it was hard sometimes. It was really, really, really hard sometimes.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it was really very rewarding, But I think you need the hard times to get to.
Did you feel an extra amount of pressure to like prove yourself in those situations? Or
100 fucking %. And I think that's where like the PTSD comes in.
the work speaks for itself, though.
It does.
Yeah.
The anxiety comes in, the depression, the exhaustion.
Well, it's hard not to feel like, fuck, like, am I not good enough sometimes?
I
Especially.
never felt that.
No,
I never doubted myself.
I feel that all the time.
Oh, don't do that. It's fine. And you'll be fine. Everything's temporary. That's what I tell myself. But it was more so the emotionally demanding, it was more so some of the men that I worked with weren't always nice or weren't always as supportive or weren't always as, I never was really welcomed with open arms.
Misogynist.
A little bit.
Yep.
Maybe a lot of it.
Misogynist.
I can't. Because it exists and nobody talks about it. And then
It exists.
I
dude.
hated being the person like maybe if you would have talked to me like 5 years ago, I wouldn't use like, well, as a woman or like as a girl. Like I hated having to start a conversation with stating like, well, as a female. No, fuck that. I am a female. Like, why should I have to let me give us a little precursor to our conversation.
Don't gotta do that, yeah.
No, like why? And a lot
But
of
it
times
is frustrating
it is
sometimes.
so frustrating.
I've been in situations at work where I say something to a gentleman. I'm not even going to call him a gentleman.
Oh.
I say something to a dude. Yep. And I'll say something to him and they're like, okay, well, blah, blah, blah. It's this person here. And they come and say the same thing. And they're like, yeah, okay. I'm like,
Yeah,
I
bro,
just said
I
the
got
same
it.
thing.
Like, why? We could bro too. Like, I could do.
I don't even want to bro out. I just want you to know, like, I said the same
I just
thing.
told you to do
wasted
the
all of our
same
time
thing.
waiting another 5 minutes.
Why? Why do you have to make it so difficult? It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be that difficult.
Yeah.
If you would have just, and again, I would run into that too. Like, oh, hey, I need you to do this and this because we have 500 people coming in, whatever,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. Okay, yes, chef. Doesn't do it. The executive chef will come up and be like, why didn't you do this? Now we have to do. See, if you would have just done it when I asked you to do it.
Everybody's time's now been wasted.
Oh, you wasted my time and now we're behind and now the chef's mad and then I'm going to get mad.
It's not a good time for anybody.
No, but it was fun. I think I don't, take my experiences lightly. I wouldn't want anybody else to go through what I went through. But
Are you welcoming to new females in your kitchen?
Always.
Yeah.
Always. I would
It's like
always try to hire, females if I could. Unfortunately,
or really flamboyant guy. I'm just kidding.
I know, right? Unfortunately, they're not all as cool as me, so I'm just kidding. I'm like, there could only be one cool female in the kitchen.
They still got to be a cool hang. They still got to be a good hang.
Or I would give them the chance, and if you can't cut it, you can't cut it.
Yep.
Like female or not, male or not, you still have to be able to cut it.
To do the thing.
Right, to do the thing. But whatever experiences I went through or whatever happened or whatever didn't happen, I'm still proud of it all. Like, I don't regret any of it. It sucks that I had to go through it, and it sucks that it happened, or like certain situations happened, but I don't regret it. I think it made me a stronger person. It made me who I am. I'm like, all right, cool. That happened. Moving on. Now I know how to handle with this situation. If as an executive I'm encountered with it, or if something happens, I know I took everything as like a learning curve.
Yeah.
Like I learned, okay, cool. I'm going to add that to my pocket. Now I know what to do or how to handle. And I think it ended up helping me be a better manager or a better leader because of how not to do things or how to handle things. And
very cool.
Yeah, it was super cool.
So let's say someone's trying to take you on a date.
Oh.
And someone's like, oh, I want to cook for you.
Oh.
Are you, is that what you think?
Like,
I had to know.
I probably look like a dick. I'm like, no, don't.
This is so
You
good.
know what though? I sometimes would rather that, like, I'm going to make you dinner as opposed to, let's go to Chili's.
Oh, yeah. Like, that's even more offensive, taking a chef to Chili's. You don't take a chef to Chili's. Excuse me.
You don't go on a date to Chili's, really.
Excuse me.
Like, not gonna lie, I love their chips and salsa, but not on the first date.
Yeah, you go on a date to Chili's when you've been with someone for over a month, probably.
Or a couple months.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's work our way up to that.
But for realsies.
for
If a
real.
dude's like, I want to cook for you, your first response is like, fuck, I gotta sit through this shit. Is that really the case?
No, only because, okay, yes and no, maybe. I'm trying to be as honest as possible.
I love it. That's what
Only
I'm
because I would
for.
appreciate if somebody's gonna cook for me, because I'm always the one cooking. So
Okay,
already
yes.
I'll be like, yes, I don't have to cook.
They've removed like a weight or like
Right.
responsibility that
Well,
you typically know
like
you have.
like my job is cooking. I have to cook for I sometimes have to cook for the kids, and it's like, oh, somebody's gonna cook for me. I'm like, fuck yeah. I don't care what it is. Like, I'm winning already. You're winning already.
Point.
And I try not to be like, okay, like I have to take the chef hat off. I'm like, I'm not a chef right now. And I also give you like kudos to you for trying to cook for me.
Yeah.
Like, that's ballsy, bro. Let's do it.
All right, so
What are we
homeboy's in the
making?
kitchen and
Yeah.
he pulls out rice-a-roni.
I'll take it. I love me a good
she's
rice
sweet.
Rice-a-roni is kind of good.
Right.
Okay.
Rice-a-roni, the broccoli cheddar one.
All right, fair enough.
What's like a
Fucks
big
with that.
What's like a red flag? Like if someone's like and you're like, dude, hell no, like I gotta go. Fake, like you text your daughter like, hey, call me in 5 minutes. Tell me.
I don't know. I guess it would have to be like if he pulled out chicken nuggets or something.
Oh,
Yeah, like something that bad. Yeah.
Frozen. I don't know. Well, guess we'll see who's gonna ask to make me dinner. No, I'm not. I'll try to be as nice as possible, because like I said, like, one, it's like nobody offers to cook for me often, so I'm not gonna turn it down.
Yeah.
I'll be like, yeah, let's do this. As long as I'm not cooking, I'll bring the whiskey.
Nice. Yeah, I'll bring the juice.
Right. I got you.
That's perfect. Is it hard not to become like a food judge or a food critic in those situations?
God.
Like too much salt.
Or like if we
simple.
go to like a restaurant, again, I'm like, let me take my chef hat off, because I don't want to be a dick, and I want to enjoy my meal.
Yep.
But I will say this, like, just because I said Chili's, I'll throw Chili's in there. If I go to Chili's, I know what to expect at Chili's. If I go to like a 5-star fine dining, white tablecloth, restaurant, I know what to expect at one of those. Now, if I'm at a 5-star fine dining restaurant and I order a $95 tomahawk steak and it's cold or not cooked properly, or you don't even bring me a steak knife, then we got problems.
Yeah.
I'll expect certain service from certain places. I'm like, how dare you take this back? But I'm not going to be like a pompous asshole about it.
Yeah. You still try to sit back and enjoy the ride.
Because I know what it's like, but I also know what it's like to cook a $95 porterhouse and cook it properly.
You know the expectations that you face, especially because that's the part when you guys talked about like the bartenders and the chefs being in the trenches together.
Right.
It's hard to make people happy. It's hard to keep people happy if the drink doesn't come out with the meal. Or I've been in places where I hear the table next to me and they're like, how did my food come out before my drink? And I'm like, dude, maybe the bar's backed up.
Maybe they're busy.
Is that not something that crosses your fucking mind, lady? Yeah.
Do you want me to come and talk to you tableside?
I understand wanting that service, but it's also like to vocalize it, because I'm like, if I can hear you, people can hear you.
But again, I think that goes back to the type of establishment.
Yeah.
Like, don't be a jerk at Marie Callender's. Like, not to knock Marie Callender's, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what service to expect where you're going. So if I'm going to a 5-star restaurant, I expect 5-star service, because my money ain't easy to earn, and I'm going to spend money like, I would love to spend $400 on a meal, but I better get $400 worth of an experience.
Yeah.
And that's what I thrive for. Like, I will give you an experience. I'll make sure it's good. And again, I love a good night at Chili's.
Yeah.
$5 margaritas.
Maybe unpopular opinion, but 5-star service is kind of awkward sometimes.
It is. It can be, because you're like, what do I do with my hands? Where do I sit? Like, they bring you a new napkin, or let me get your fork. And
now laugh at me. Mastro's, is that a 5-star?
Mastro's is good.
Okay.
Have you been to Fleming's?
Yes, I have. So
Those are
my
great.
sister, those are like, if it's her birthday, she likes to go to a nice steakhouse. And I've always thought it was weird. Like, have you ever been to one of those places?
Yeah, I've been to Fleming's.
Dude, I think it's so weird when you take like 2
full
bites of your
service.
mashed potatoes and then they come and scoop you more mashed potatoes. I'm like, what are you doing here? Like, I will replenish my plate when I want to replenish, but they show up and they grab and they just scoop it into your plate. And I'm like, I get it. But they're just along the walls, just like
watching
you. That's so weird.
But see, I think
uncomfortable.
I think that's the difference, where, because I'm always the provider, the giver, the like, let me cook it for you, let me do it for
You're
you.
excited to be waited on.
When
like that.
that's happening to me, I'm like, put my napkin in my
You
shirt
take
for
2
me.
bites and you kind of like tap your plate a little
I'm like,
bit.
Excuse me, mashed potato me now. You know, I think it's different, because I want to be pampered from time to time. You know, I don't want to have to worry about, again, going back to, I don't want to cook it. I don't want to serve myself. Like,
Do you go to Korean barbecue?
I do. That's fun.
Okay.
The girls like it. Like the shabu shabu, the Korean barbecue.
Do the girls
like,
cook it?
They love it.
Okay.
We like that. But but again, it's not like 5-star service ever. I don't need it all the time, but it's nice when I have it. I'm like, okay, there's a spot on my fork.
Do you
Pour
have
me some more wine.
Do you have a favorite restaurant?
No.
No.
There's a couple in LA that I do love to go to.
Yeah.
So if you guys are ever in LA, that's another thing that's like Riverside. It's like, ooh, where do you eat in Riverside? I'm like, Arts? I don't know.
Yeah.
Del Taco.
I'm on my house.
Yeah, right. I eat at home mostly.
At home.
90% of the time, eat at home.
Unfortunately, Riverside doesn't have a huge food scene, like restaurant scene. So
It's growing, but it's not. It's not concentrated yet.
It's not.
You have to go far and few between to find.
I'm all about Redlands right now.
Oh, really?
Redlands has a lot of stuff
Has a
going
lot
on.
of good stuff. Redlands.
What's the spot in Redlands?
Don Orange Tacos.
I'm gonna clip that.
Don Orange. Hold on. Tartan.
I did not pay her to say that.
Hey, what's with Don Orange?
Just saying, I did not pay you to say that.
You know somebody that knows somebody.
My cousin manages it.
Oh. I love it there.
She just recently started managing it.
Wait, what's your
new ownership?
What's your cousin's name?
Her name's Gabby.
Oh, we know Gabby. I know Gabby.
Gabby Shepke?
Uh-huh. Yeah, because she's friends with Carlos, and Carlos
Then
got
there
her
might
the
be a
job
little bit of bias behind what she said. Just kidding.
No, like,
We're not going to clip that part.
have you guys been to Redlands? Have you been to Redlands?
Yeah, of course.
Tartan. Like, Tartan is super
haven't-
old school.
What's
but
tartan?
It's like a bar and grill. It's like an old bar, but it's like the
I'm gonna write that
old,
down.
like, giant, like those plush leather seats, and it's all wood grain inside, like super old school. Food is great.
I got so excited when you said Don Orange.
And then behind Don Orange, there's Redlands Oyster Cult, and it's an oyster bar. Oh,
Someone told Chantel and I about that, and we like oysters, and someone's like, "Oh, you got to go try that if you like oysters."
if I'm not going to, like, I don't know, Newport or LA for oysters, I'll go there because they're legit. Their cocktails are amazing.
Yeah, Redlands has definitely been up and coming. They got a bunch of cool food places, and I like that a couple of them have dog-friendly patios.
Yeah, you gotta bring the pups.
I like it. I like taking my dogs places. It's fun.
But there's, like, obviously LA is LA, so there's a lot of so one of my favorites is Bestia. Have you heard of Bestia? Oh my god, it's so
Where is it at in LA?
It's off of 4th and Mateo.
I'll look
But
it
in
up.
between the bridges.
Chantel and I go to the museums out there sometimes.
Oh, we just went to
and
the
we try to
Broad.
find cool. Yeah, we like stuff like that.
The
And
girls love the Broad.
we like to try to find a new place to eat.
Oh, okay. Have you been right next door to the Broad is Otium?
Otium, no. Is that what kind of cuisine is that? Both places, I can't guess it. Like Bestia, that's like, to me, I'm like, I could find my bestie there.
The chef is, I want to say they're Middle Eastern, like, background. I want to say.
Yalla, let's go.
Yeah, I don't know for sure. Those two are, like, kind of high on my radar right now. I love them. I've been to Bestia so many times. I'm like, can we go again?
What was the other one called?
Otium.
Otium.
Otium. And it's right next door to the Broad.
Got to check that out. I like trying new restaurants a lot. I like trying.
Well,
new
I
foods.
mean, yeah, me too. Like, I like food a little bit.
Yeah,
I like
Yeah.
to eat.
We're thinking about going to New Orleans in September, and a big part of it, I was like, Chantel, like, you're gonna love the food out there.
The food is amazing.
And she hasn't been. I've been because I have a friend that lives out there.
Oh, okay.
So I'm, been blessed to go in the past. But it'll be such a fun experience to take her because she also likes food. We both like food a lot. Yeah, we get down with the get
And
down.
I used to live out towards LA, so I would be more in the know. Bar Ama is another good one.
Now you're local to the IE area.
Yeah, I'm like,
You know-
and I feel bad because people are like, oh, what's a good place to go eat? And I'm like, I don't know.
Have you heard of the restaurant called Con Amore Restauranti? I don't know how to say it right. I'm saying it as white as I can because I'm not going to say it the right way, Italian. But it's in the Crossings in Corona.
No. Is it new?
No, it's pretty
That's where
established.
there's a Taps right there, right? There's a Taps.
Taps is where Dos Lagos was, and they all shut down because they weren't paying people right. Bad. No.
They got sued.
Yeah, they did. No.
No bueno.
So but if, like, let's say you're on Cajalco, left is Dos Lagos. It's right there. The area is called the Crossings. And you wouldn't expect it when you see it because it's just like a little spot in the mall. But the food is so good. Their menu changes every week.
Does it have like a little bar as soon as you walk in?
You walk in and there's a bar on the left, and then it's like a nice seating, and there's art all over the wall.
Yes, I know
and the art is
exactly
made
what
by
you're
the
talking
chef.
about, but I've never eaten there.
You should try it. If you
I
like
went in there
Italian
because
food.
I'm pretty cool. They're a Cisco customer.
Oh, really?
Go Cisco. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure, but I've never eaten there, and I hear great things about it. So
It's so cute.
I might
It's
have to
family owned.
Check it out.
Very cute, family owned. The wife is in the back cooking, and she also does all the art on the walls. So it's really sweet.
Yeah. Yes.
Very
I know
homey.
exactly what you're talking about.
We went with my family one time, Chantel and I,
Uh-huh.
and it was so cute. Like, my sister ordered a drink, and he legit told her no. He's like, at this time with what you're about to eat, you don't have a latte. He's like, I'm going to bring you a coffee that you can have with your food.
What?
Yeah. And I thought it was so cool. And even one of them was like, my cousin was like, oh, like, what do you recommend? And he's like, are you allergic to anything? She's all no. And he's like, okay.
Got you.
Didn't tell her. She's like, what are you getting? Don't worry about it. It was such
I love that.
It was a sweet experience.
I love it.
Yeah, he was
That's
doing
awesome.
magic tricks for my nieces
my
and
God.
nephews. It was such a sweet experience.
He's a very hands-on owner.
Yeah.
But that means that
Love
he
that.
takes a lot of pride in his establishment.
One of my favorite local places, I think, for
okay.
sure.
I would definitely go check it out.
So definitely love that place. Gotta ask, have you ever been in a food cooking competition? Would you ever want to do a cooking competition?
I don't think have I ever been in one. No. but I used to get asked constantly by Food Network, can you do this? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? I'm like, we have talent scouts. I'm like, no, I'm good.
You never wanted to do it?
No. Like I was asked
That means your ego didn't need it.
No.
Yeah.
You know what it was for me? I don't know. I just feel like the exposure and getting like TV's so weird. Like, I don't know. And it's not like something that I was like, I have to do this or I have to do that. They're like, yeah, you want to do guys grocery games? I was like, no. Chopped, no. Hell's Kitchen, no.
Yeah.
I was asked several times. There was another one.
Did you have friends that did it?
I knew people that did it.
At the end of the day, did it get them anything besides like what do they call it? Like the 5 minutes of fame or whatever?
No. Yeah. They're still the same people.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just wasn't something that was super like that. It was like, oh my God, I want to be in TV or yes, I'll do. What was there? There was another cooking competition, Hell's Kitchen. And there was like one where there's another one that I was
Master Chef or?
Oh, maybe it was, Master Chef. No, I just didn't want, I turned them all
Iron
down.
Chef too. There's all these there's all of these freaking ones you never wanted to.
No.
Would you have done it?
No, I'm not good enough for that. I cook like,
how modest.
I just kind of like throw shit in a pot and I'm like, hopefully it tastes good, and it usually does because, I'm like, okay, acid based salt.
Right.
This and that,
Right. I know. I just wasn't like, it's not like I'm uncomfortable in front of the camera or like.
Yeah, obviously not.
Obviously. But no, I just never, I was like, no, I'm good. It was weird. Like every 6 months they would hit me up again. I'm like, guys, I said no, leave me alone. I don't want it.
Well, they probably didn't want to have like repeat people. And at the end of the day, like I feel like chefs are not, there's not like a million of them out there.
There's a lot out there.
There's a lot, but it's like,
There's a lot of people that think they're chefs.
Now I know a chef. Like I could say now I know a chef. Yeah, high five. Now I know it. But before I didn't know a chef. I think Connor knows a chef.
Yeah, I know a few chefs.
Chefs.
Yeah.
But do you know many that you haven't met from work?
No.
Yeah, like I feel like it's a rare profession. Am I wrong?
Rare-ish.
Rare-ish.
Maybe. Just maybe not.
I think in my role is I know hundreds of chefs. So I think that would be the difference. Like you're not as exposed to it.
Yeah.
But I know lots of chefs.
Because you're in the midst
industry,
of it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But no cooking competitions.
No.
Don't call me.
Do you like smoking things? You mentioned brisket earlier. Do you do like smoking?
Yeah, yes and no. I think smoking and barbecue kind of took off the last couple of years. So
very popular right now.
Everybody's doing it.
It's trendy. Isn't that funny? Do you think that's funny that food can be trendy?
Dude, all these Instagrammers.
I love that response.
And now I'm one of them.
I always tease Chantal, I'm like, because whenever we'll get the food and I'll go to, I'm the person, the food's in front of me, I want to eat it. And then she'll be like,
She's like, wait, we gotta take a picture.
I'm like, okay, camera eats first. I guess. I hate it. I eat first in my world.
I think, again, going back to, like, if I'm sitting at a restaurant, like if I go to Bestia or OTM, it's like amazing. And I'm like, oh God, it looks so beautiful. But then I don't want to be that asshole that's like, wait, I got to take a picture. Hold on. And then when you're done taking a picture, it's getting cold.
That's food etiquette, right?
And then if you're with somebody, they're waiting for you to take your damn picture. I'm like, just do this on your own time.
It's offensive not to eat the food when it's hot to me.
And I was guilty
that
of it.
offends me.
I would do it all the time. And now with work, I have to do it too. But now I'm like, I think it's more because now it's a chore. Like when it starts becoming a chore, I don't like it. I want to do it myself because I want to do it.
Yeah.
But I get it. I think it's like, again, trendy. Food is so trendy. Like everybody's a chef. Everybody's a cook. Everybody wants their recipe on Instagram or TikTok. And I don't know. I'll take a picture of it, post it. If you like it, cool. If you don't like it, you're not going to hurt my feelings. It's not a do or die for me.
You're doing it anyways. You're not doing it for that.
Right.
You're like, this is actually my job.
You're like, guys, it's for work.
Losers.
Duh.
Liz, Thank you so much for being
you,
here today. This was really
guys.
fun.
I had so much fun.
We're gonna throw your Instagram on there
Yeah.
for people to find you.
Absolutely.
Is that cool?
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Hell yeah. Awesome. Do you
Thank
still
you.
like doing private events and stuff like that, or
I do.
hit her up, y'all?
For small groups. And if it just depends. It depends on my work schedule because paying the bills comes first.
Hey,
Cisco comes first.
all hail Cisco
I
and their
do love-
mayonnaise.
and their mayonnaise. But if it's like close friends or family, most definitely. I do like to do it because it's different from what I do every day.
Hell yeah. Thank you again for being here.
Thank
We had so much
you,
fun.
thank
Yeah, an absolute pleasure.
Thank
Everybody, thank you for
you.
listening. Like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
guys.